Governor, let me just go ahead and start off with Tim Walz again joining the ticket with Kamala Harris. There's no secret that you were on that short vice presidential list. Can you give us maybe a little bit of insight into the process, and what do you think that Walz brings to a balance to Kamala Harris's ticket now?
Well, I'll start with this. It was an honor that the outreach happened, but I wanted to be very clear early on that I'm not looking to leave Michigan, and so did not go through the process. I am thrilled that Tim Walz is the running mate. The good news is that there's a deep bench of Democratic leaders across the country right now. Josh Shapiro, Mark Kelly. I mean, she had a huge group of people from whom she could have picked her running mate. And she would have done well with any of them. But I love Walz. He is a Minnesotan. He is Midwestern to the core. He shows up in his Carhartt, talks turkey with anyone who wants to. And I think he has shown he knows how to get things done. And that's what we need in leaders in Washington, D.C. more than ever.
I know that I'm sure Vice President Harris is getting a lot of advice from a lot of people, but what advice would you give to her about what issues to stick to when she comes to Michigan to be able to sway some of those undecided voters here from now until November?
I know that the vice president understands what the average person's going through. I mean, she comes from humble beginnings herself. She is someone who has made a career out of public service. That means making personal sacrifice to help other people, whether it's as a prosecutor, United States Senator, now as vice president. So I anticipate she'll continue to talk about the kitchen table issues, the things that really matter to Michigan families and Michigan businesses. How do we make sure that our economy is one that continues to grow and provide good paying jobs and where business can succeed? How do we ensure that every American has access to a great education and a darn good paying job at the end of their education? And so I think that it's really these kitchen table issues that is why you're seeing so many Democrats coalescing right now, because it's the fundamentals for the American people that will make our decision in this election on. And I think she's going to show a superior understanding and vision for what we can do.
What have some of the Democrats in Michigan talked to you about the rest of the ticket down when we look at the Senate race for the open Senate seat here in Michigan and some of the congressional districts that could be very close? What are they telling you about what they want to see nationally from the Democratic Party in terms of when they come here to Michigan?
I think it's been really interesting to see the difference. We've got our Democratic convention coming up in 2 weeks. We know that it is going to be a stark difference from the one that we saw take place in Milwaukee. Looking forward, building consensus, finding common ground will continue to be very important as we try to make sure that we're building a country where every person has a real path to prosperity. And so I'm excited. I do think that, Michigan is going to be a close race. It always is. So I don't think any community or person or voter can be taken for granted. And that's why I'll continue to show up and engage with everyone and anyone to understand what it is that they want and need from Washington, D.C. And I'll be the strongest advocate on behalf of Michiganders, as I always am.
Yeah, you have a lot of pundits who are watching Michigan right now and talking about turnout. I know that Sean Fain, the UAW, is going to be part of the rally tonight. In terms of engaging labor and some other groups as well, how important do you think the focus should be here in Michigan on that?
I think it's a big part of the coalition that I've always been able to count on, and that I determine the outcome of Michigan elections. And so a real agenda around helping working people, the average person, get ahead. I think that we have seen that is something that is central to the Harris agenda. It is something that her running mate, Tim Walz, has delivered on as Minnesota governor, and sending them into the White House, I think, will help improve the quality of people's lives all across the country from every walk of life.
It's still staggering what has happened in the last month. I think the last time we talked to you, that you were launching your book tour, and then there was so much upheaval and change with Republicans, with the Democratic Party. What has surprised you, I guess, most of all in the last couple of weeks since Kamala Harris has stepped into the front runner position with the Democratic Party, and just everything that we've seen play out in politics?
Well, it has been. I mean, how many times have we used the word unprecedented, right?
Right.
Just in the last month and a half, from the debate to,
Mhm.
the horrible shooting in Pennsylvania, to the President Biden stepping down and now the big announcement for the running mate, everything's unprecedented. And yet we know that most people are just exhausted. And we want
Yeah.
government to work as hard as we do and be as good, if not better than we are. And we deserve that. And so I'm excited. I see a lot of energy across our state in our campaign offices, in conversations that are happening. And so I just want to make sure that we're making a seat at the table for every person. We know that the best way to get things done is to roll up our sleeves, do the work, and try to find common ground wherever we can.
Yeah, last question for you because I know you've got to go. How do you keep the momentum? And I think this goes for Democrats and Republicans alike. And in these last couple of months, to make it so it's just not all of a sudden white noise for people. There's so many different ways about messaging. I mean, not just media interviews anymore. You know this as well as anyone, and social media and the different ways that you can communicate. How do you make it so it just all of a sudden doesn't just slide right off and people ignore what's going on?
I think we got to meet people where they are. That's true whether it is a conversation that we have at the doors or it is talking about the coconut tree on TikTok or Brat Summer for that matter, right? I think every one of us has a vote. Every one of us has power in this moment. And recognizing that, honoring that, and asking for that support, I think is old-fashioned politics, but has to be done in a way that reaches people where they're at. And so it's that combination. I'm excited. I really do see the energy that I haven't seen in a while. And we've got to continue to feed that and organize it and make sure that we are focused going into November 5th.
All right, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, thanks so much for being with me. It's good to see you, and we'll keep talking.